My 48F husband, 49M, said he is no longer attracted to me and wants to sleep with other women. My husband and I have been married for 12 years. We dated for 6 years prior. I am still very much in love with him. And I felt that he loved me as well. I know for a fact that we are each other's best friends. He says that to everybody. And it's the real deal behind closed doors as well. We both have a passion for real estate and have worked on a bunch of projects together. For years, I have always been the first person he consults on a lot of things, and he always asked me to accompany him to whatever things in business and otherwise he has to do because we keep each other company and he sees me as his calming influence. My husband is a corporate lawyer in NYC. After our daughter, 10, turned 5, we decided it was better to raise her and send her to school in a more suburban setting. So we moved from the city to a commuter town, bedroom community. We have a lot of friends and coworkers that live nearby. I work as a mortgage loan officer at a bank near our house. These past few years I started noticing a shift in how my husband treated me. He treated me with respect. We'd still go to parties and vacations together. And he'd always ask and value my advice on things. He also would always tell me he was proud of me and post complimentary messages about me on social media. However, I noticed that what years earlier had still been passionate love now was more distant. It became more of a he said those things because he was being respectful, rather than there being any source of romantic spark between us. We'd be out and I noticed he'd be looking at other women. Sometimes women would come up to him and he'd be flirtatious with them. I tried everything to help us reconnect. Date nights, weekend getaways. I lost 10 pounds and even paid a personal stylist to help me get a whole new wardrobe, including lingerie. My husband would reject any attempt I made at intimacy and also start trying to make excuses in order to get out of date nights, including saying that his friends always seemed to be having a crisis at their homes that he had to go help them with. He made a rather upsetting comment when my sister was complimenting me on my new body about how his friend's wife, 35F, could still fit in her wedding dress from 10 years ago effortlessly, and said, "Now that's commitment if only. Otherwise I guess why keep or buy such an expensive thing." He later backtracked and said he meant more him and his tuxedo. He always rejects any overture for physical affection, to the point where he becomes distant if I even put my hand on his. He told me that his job was demanding he work longer hours and that he had looked into apartments in the city where he could work his late nights. When he said that, I instantly got a bad feeling because while people worked late, he was a partner and not even as an associate did he have to work to such a late hour that driving home was impractical. Then we go to a firm event to celebrate Founders Day. We were having a good time, but then my husband became distracted and couldn't keep his eyes off a woman. He then left our conversation and began acting flirtatiously towards the woman. His coworkers who I've known for a long time all gave me uncomfortable or pitying glances. When we got home from the event, I asked him if he was sleeping with the woman he spent the rest of the night around. He said he wasn't. Then we got in a fight about his suddenly longer work hours and I admitted that it hurts me that we haven't had sex or physical affection in close to 2 years despite my efforts. He then tells me that he loves me. He pauses because he basically snapped that he loved me. He then tells me that he didn't know how to say this to me, because he truly does love and care for me, but he's no longer attracted, and that he's made a great effort to deny that or relight that attraction he has for me. He told me that he still thinks of me as his forever partner and respects me immensely. He admitted he was attracted to the woman I saw him talking to. She's 24 and very beautiful. But he told me he loves me as the mother of our daughter, and emotionally speaking, I'm the only one he thinks he'll ever love. And that he'll always value my opinion above others. But he said that he's sure that he has also aged and gained weight. But that it's just what he feels. And he can't pinpoint a certain moment when it happened. He then asked me if there was a way we could work this out. And by work it out, he said he'd be discreet and never let anybody know about it. But he asked if he could sleep with other women if he could promise that he won't get emotionally attached. He said that sites that would match him with a college or grad student operate on a basis of not forming emotional attachments, and that nothing would change in our relationship. That conversation devastated me. I've been looking at current pictures of us in hatred. I've been suffering from hormone problems for the past 4 years, which have caused my hair to become very brittle and increased my hair loss. My husband always liked long hair, and I know he was disappointed when it became too hard to keep it long or thick. I also feel like standing next to my husband. I find my husband handsome, glowing even in confidence perhaps. And I just see ugly me without that glow. What do? I love my husband and I've spent so much money on creams and makeup, but my husband just didn't want a relationship with me sexually, and would rather even pay other women in their early to mid-20s for it. I truly think that to anybody else, they'd say that he was adoring and clearly has a good rapport with me. I don't know if I can lose my best friend. And truly I feel like every other aspect of my relationship is good. I can tell just from reading this how beautiful you are. And you sound like an incredible, passionate, hardworking person. You don't deserve anyone making you feel anything but those things. You're a prize. My first thoughts when reading this your husband were, midlife crisis. Regardless of what is prompting his change in behavior. I have to say the way he has and hasn't treated you is abhorrent. His childish behavior has damaged your relationship. I agree with other posters that he's likely already stepped outside of your marriage, which, if you ever have proof of, I'd personally treat as a deal breaker. And I don't think anyone would blame you if decided all of this was deal breaker enough already. I also agree his idea of friendship is toxic and self-serving. I'm sure you're his best friend, but he's stopped being yours. At this point, stop caring about what you can do for him. You've done that for years now to no effect, and in turn have suffered a hit on your self-esteem. You have to turn your attentions to you now. Does he want to stay in this marriage? By which I mean a healthy, happy, monogamous marriage, as this is what you both signed up for and what it is you want. If so, therapy, both individual and couple, non-negotiable. He has to recognize how his selfishness and neglect have tainted your relationship and how it's now solely up to considered efforts on his part to earn that back. Consistently. For as long as it takes until you can trust him again. The moment he slips back into past behavior merits a farewell from you. I would also treat yourself to some self-care. Take yourself on a holiday. Or engage in a hobby you've always wanted to for yourself. Whatever it is. Lean on friends and family. Seek therapy. Do whatever you need to feel loved and supported. You're obviously very strong, and whatever the outcome, you've got this. So very sorry you are facing this terrible situation. Devastating indeed. A word about your husband. With his request for an open marriage on his side, he has descended into the depths of the stereotypical urban professional that has made to a certain level of success, is believing his own hype, and has disregarded the spouse that helped him get there, as well as relegating them to almost a business partner status, but no longer a lover, so that he can have his side piece. Sigh. How many times do we have to read stories like this? Tragic. On to you. He is being very manipulative and is forcing you into a lose-lose proposition. Assuming you are not okay with an open marriage on his side. If you say okay, then your self-worth takes another huge hit on top of the one you just endured. If you say no, you have a husband that has admitted he has lost attraction despite your best efforts at intimacy, self-maintenance, and upkeep. My guess is he's already started his side fling. And is just trying to put a thin veneer of legitimacy over top of it for appearance's sake. He is a classic cake eater. So what do you do? My advice is that there is no way in hell any woman worth her salt would ever put up with this shish. Not ever. I'd start by being a bit coy. Ask for time to think about his proposal in order to get your ducks in a row legally. When you do get things lined up to be able to divorce him. A huge undertaking, I know. Tell him this. Husband, I want you to be happy. I want you to be with as many women as your heart desires. I want you to find all of the sexual fulfillment you are looking for in your love nest apartment downtown. But not as my husband. So, you have a decision to make. Let me know by the end of the day today what you decide. Then, walk away. You have to turn the tables and get his attention somehow, and a power move is the only thing that has a chance of moving the needle in your direction. Read the story of a businesswoman's handling of her husband's infidelity by clicking here. Good luck, op. Stand strong. Get a team of people around you that care about you, including a good therapist that can help you process the trauma of this betrayal. pp. 45. You need to stop trying to please him and being what you think he wants. Because there's nothing wrong with you. It sounds like he already has one foot out the door. And it's very difficult to fix that once your partner starts down that path. Instead, you'd be better off focusing on whatever makes you happy and preparing. Emotionally, financially, living arrangements, etc. for the fact that you'll probably need to separate. He's not going to sleep with these women and avoid getting emotionally attached. It'll be like a drug. And once he's been with one, he'll want another. And it'll become one of the main focuses in his life. And the fact that he wants to do this with women half his age turns him into an embarrassing cliché. 2. I hate to say this, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's already getting up to something behind your back and trying to figure out how to make his two worlds work together before he realizes that's not gonna happen. The shift in affection of which you speak reminds me very much of how my marriage of 20 years ended. In one particular incident, we went to a party and every time I sat next to him he got up and moved away. I was so upset I left for 2 hours and just walked the streets crying. When I returned after drying my tears, several asked me what was wrong, but I denied anything was. In all that time he never noticed I was gone. Intimacy was gone. And I knew by then he had someone else. I looked through deleted items on the computer. Some software allows you to do that. And saw emails between him and the other woman. When men turn down intimacy and stop showing you any signs of affection, they are gone from the marriage. At this point I would be prepared for a separation at the very least. He may say he respects you et al. But more likely he's thinking about how much he will lose in a divorce. Yes. Get tested for STDs for sure. I am so sorry you're going through this. But sadly it happens all too frequently these days. And also, after we separated, he told his family I had been cheating on him. But my kids were sharper than that and knew the truth without me saying a word. Good luck to you moving forward. It's not an easy road, but in the end it worked out well for me. The fact he wants women half his age is disturbing and should tell what's really going on here with his sweet talking and manipulation. Your husband had already checked out of your marriage and doesn't want back in. He made that evident when he denied all of your attempts to rekindle. I'm sorry to say it, but he is already having an affair. You deserve better. If you aren't also being sexually and romantically fulfilled by other men, then you are never going to be happy with this arrangement. What would you benefit from it? He is likely saying the sweet stuff just to avoid a messy divorce. Focus your energy on yourself. I only see two options. 1. Open the marriage and go find other men to date knowing your husband is just a legal partner. Nothing more. 2. Divorce him. Good luck. It would be incredibly difficult to leave. I see that. But do you want your daughter to see you being treated this way and think it's okay? You both may think you could keep her dad's philandering a secret. But she'll find out. Kids always do. Well, he wouldn't be acting like this if you were his best friend and respected you. I don't know if your state is no fault or not, but my guess is he is already having an affair. Time to find an attorney. One who he isn't friends with. To get your ducks in a row. Get financials together so he can't hide anything. Atty can help get proof of SN affair too if needed. You know deep inside that this won't work. You want a relationship where you feel loved, not one where you are respected like a maternal figure. And what he is doing is not even respectful. It is difficult to sever these bonds and imagine a new life, but I think it is time to speak to an attorney and start negotiating a new life for yourself. Your husband is an asshole. If we're being honest, it's one thing if he's no longer attracted to you. But he's also blatantly flirting with other women in front of your face and in front of others, and now just wants go sleep with other people with no regard for you having a fulfilling life. So, if you want to keep your best friend, cool. But go speak with a good divorce lawyer and move out and find someone who appreciates you for all that you are. He's preying on women half his age. That alone is a deal breaker. Emo. He's an asshole going through a midlife crisis and acting like a moron about it. I am so sorry, but this relationship might not be worth saving. He is not respectful. He's a sad, little middle-aged man in a midlife crisis who wants to sleep with someone half his age to reinvigorate his ego. He thinks he can have better, because young and beautiful is the only better he's looking for right now. What a pathetic cliché. For someone who says he would be discreet. He couldn't even do that through one party. He was already indiscreet in front of all of his coworkers. If he's not already fucking that 24-year-old, he's fucking someone else. You need to go get tested for every STD available and tell him you're doing it and why. I'm so sorry that your life has been so shaken up. Get a good lawyer. Take a kickboxing class to get out your pain and frustration. And start making a plan for the rest of your life. It's weird that he wants to have sex with girls over half his age. That should be a red flag to get the hell out of that relationship in and of itself. Not to mention, he's probably already seeing those girls anyway. Your marriage and marriage life you thought you had and wanted is over and done. Your WH left a long time ago. He said he never cheated. It's a lie. No sex with you for years. He was dipping his toe in little puddles since he liked them young and barely legal. He wants to stay married and be discreet. That's not going to happen. His office coworkers knows he's playing in the sandbox with the young office worker. That's why they gave you the looks. Like the other commenters said, you can open the marriage for yourself also with the same rules and boundaries, or you can just divorce and make sure you get the most benefits, especially for infidelity. For you and your child. I hope all works out for the best for you, and may you WH experience untreatable ed. You have some really hard big decisions ahead of you. Right now you're feeling hurt and in a state of shock. If you feel like you want to try to salvage this marriage, then talk to your husband about marriage counseling. If there's no coming back from this, then find a lawyer. He thinks because he is a big shot lawyer he deserves this. His law firm is likely at the root cause of this attitude. Get into counseling for you, and after a while, make him go. If he does cheat, get the goods and make your decision. But make sure he feels the pain after inflicting it on you. I'm so sorry. Your husband is an ass. He has made the decision to check out. I don't know what to advise you other than it's time to be selfish. Looks after yourself. Get a trainer. Get an attorney. Tell him no. You obviously aren't comfortable with this. Don't agree to something that'll hurt you. Whether your marriage is salvageable or not, who knows? But don't let him sleep around when you obviously don't want to do that. If your partner is unattracted to you, and you need sexual desire and chemistry for yourself, don't expect to find it from your partner. Respect yourself and move on.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.